Hey guys, it's Chelsa Messenger with Picks and Parlays. We're talking hockey, headed to LA where the Kings are hosting the Wild. It's President's Day week, which means we've got a nice little code for 20% off the entire site of picksandparlays.net. Use the code USA. Wild road favorites here, minus 125. Total is 5.5 goals. We've got Scott Rickenbach joining us to break this one all down for us. Scott was the #1 capper on picksandparlays.net last season, and also the #1 capper for hockey. So always good insight from Scott. Scott, thoughts on Wild and Kings?
Thanks, Chelsea. This one, interesting matchup. Just like we've seen in the other sports, COVID is absolutely impacting the hockey world as well. And in this case, it's really dealt a tough blow to Minnesota. Now, when you look at this game, it's long-term records and market perception are really the only reasons that one could justify Minnesota being a road favorite in this game. I mean, I understand it because, again, based on the markets, and they just set a line to get equal action on both sides. I mean, that's, of course, how the odds makers do it. And in this case, though, Minnesota to be favored on the road, they have not played a game in about 2 weeks. And now they're going to come in and they're facing an LA team that the Kings don't have a great record overall long term. But the thing is, this is a team that can be tough at home. Last season, 19-13-2 was their home record. This season, they've played 7 home games. They've earned at least a point in 5 of those games. And so they have had some OT losses, shootout losses, but Kings very competitive on home ice. And we saw over this past weekend, we saw a Colorado team play Vegas after a long layoff, and the Avalanche got shut out. We saw another matchup where Washington, after a layoff of about a week, they faced Pittsburgh. They ended up losing 6-3. The teams coming off these long layoffs, it's really tough on them to get back in game shape, get their skating legs under them, get going again. They can adjust as the game goes on, but sometimes it's too late. And in this case, what I like here with the Kings, again, they can perform well on home ice. They've definitely got the advantage of having played recent games. Plus, they've scored at least 3 goals in each of their last 3 games, and they're off of a big 6-2 home win in their most recent game, so a confidence booster there. Minnesota, not only are they coming off of a long layoff, but they were struggling a bit. 4 losses in 6 games before they went into this unwanted break. And not only that, the last 3 losses, they scored just 1 goal in each of those games. So it's going to be a bit of a rough road for Minnesota right away. Now, usually by the second game, teams can get going again. But in this first game, I just think it's a really tough spot for Minnesota. And I like the LA Kings as a home dog here to get the job done on home ice in the Tuesday night NHL action.
And then looking at a total, it looks like LA 10-3 to the over this season. Quite the trend when it comes to the overs. Any leanings on a total here?
Yes, again, I really like the side much more, but if I was to play the total, you're right about that trend, and that's an important one to note here because the other factor is when you look at Minnesota, when teams come in off a break and they're a little bit sloppy with the puck, it takes a while to get their puck handling back. You can have some mistakes, and those mistakes end up in the back of your net. So we could see a little bit more scoring than you would normally expect. So I would definitely lean toward the over in this one and look for that long-term trend with LA to continue.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our hockey talk here on Picks and Parlays. Great stuff, as always, from Scott Rickenbach. Scott, thanks for joining us.